Hello future tech leaders, I am Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
Let's see how we configure this email correspondence. Yes, I think I've already logged into the application. Let me switch back to the Dev Studio. Or, yes, you can also configure this from the App Studio as well. Once we'll have a look from the App Studio, then we'll come back to the Dev. Now we are in Dev, isn't it? Yes, we are in Dev. Let us just jump to the App Studio once to see the perspective of what happens from the App Studio. Let me open the case type. In the meanwhile, what do you think we could configure in this correspondence? Or probably, let us take the example of a mail. What do you think you might need to configure on this mail? The sender recipient. Right. The first thing is who should be receiving this mail. We will decide who should be the recipient. Now, as we are talking about recruitment here, am I concerned with just one specific recipient? Or could it be multiple recipients? As in, like, suppose when I receive an offer letter, will it be just for me or will there be other? The letter might be just for you. But if it's a regret email, they might send to everyone. Exactly right. It might be for a good offer, right? Sometimes in the offer letter you see that there would be some other mails as well. As in, it could be for the onboarding team or for HR team. Members could be there. They might be in CC. It might be the recipient, but others also would be notified, as in like saying, this candidate is selected. The onboarding team or the HR team will be notified. I think I just rewrote this instance once. The first thing is recipients. Now can I hard code it? I mean, can I hard code that this person is going to be my recipient? Can I do that? No, because it would be for each specific case. In this case, I cannot hard code it to one email address. It has to be dynamic. Depending upon the input, the same email has to be used in order to send the email. I cannot code it. This is still loading. Yes, recipients are good. Then what about the content, the body of the mail? How does it have to be content? It might be a template which you put in. You can mail much, like you might get the names from the database, like you can get the name and whatever you want to put in. There could be a standard template. But in between you might have database variables which will get closed up from the database. Those values again, they should be dynamically be populated. Correct. Here is your send offer email. Let's see what all we could do on this particular step. Here if you observe, yes, send to. I have multiple options here. There is an email address, which means a hard-coded email address here. But yes, this cannot be hard-coded if you are thinking to send it out to a particular user. Yes, this cannot be hard-coded. But otherwise, if it's part of the HR team or something, yes, they will have standard emails and I can deal with it. For example, let me choose a field here. Field as in the one that is part of your case type. You get to see all the different fields here. There's only one field with respect to email that we have configured. I get to see it directly. This email is something that we have configured in the Get Personal Info. The same email is considered as this field here. I could use a field because this is more of a dynamic approach. It will get that from the database like whatever you're seeing, whatever the candidate has stored. Yes, then otherwise you have something called as user reference, as in like, this is related to the data types. You get to see a create operator and update operator for each of the data types that you have created. If this is something related to data type, you can use those operators also if required. Otherwise, yes, here you have your participants. This deals with your owner, customer and interested parties. 1. This we send out only to the customer. Yes, you can choose the customer or, if it's for the owner, the one who created the case, or for everyone involved in the transaction. It goes to the all participants. For me, if you want you will choose all participants. Right. Multiple as in the same mail for everyone, is it? I have to get multiple email addresses at the same time. For that, I cannot use this contextual properties panel. I need to go back to the first. I should populate all the emails in the list of emails. Then on each email, I should use the correspondence rule. That would be done on the Dev Studio. Those refinements will be done by the developer. Here, what I do is I'll send one to the email that is listed out here and another email for a common address, maybe HR team and ABC. I'm just now, only BS can do till this point, in the sense if they don't have access to it. And is the discussion happening? Because you can tell them anyway here, isn't it? Is that by discussions between the yes? That is correct. That will be mostly described in the stories. Only when, even though we have a lot of aspects of Agile Workbench and all in inbuilt and Pega, but I hardly see people using it. They still go back, using those conventional methods of JRA or their Kanban boards, only to deal with this project. As a user, they will write everything there and accordingly, the developers will pick from there and do it. In that case, business architect doesn't use the tool at all. Exactly. That's the whole point. Otherwise, they can record user stories if something like that. They could do it here. I mean, we will be able to do it from the Dev Studio. You have a portal where you can, not a portal, but you have a place where you can get your requirements, specifications. All of those can be done. We call this Agile Workbench. I mean that Agile Workbench is obviously for the developers. They can check their stories. They can put in their comments onto it. They can add in some screenshots, videos. All of that can be done from the Agile Workbench. Developers can do it. I don't see that's not being used. Usually, user stories are written by the product owner, isn't it? But here I mean again going to the conventional approach. We sometimes may not be expecting the product owners to know how to use these studios and all. They go back. That's what I was asking. Usually the analysts do it. Or proxy owners they call it. You can call it a bit of pagan knowledge. Usually product owners are business users. Usually they are. They don't know how to write it. Correct. Correct. If properly used and to the potential, I think this really helps. But you know people are a bit reluctant to put everything on the application. They go back to those old models and the old approaches itself. Now I can add in multiple recipients here and you can choose whether it has to be a common email for all the listed recipients or you want it to be a separate email. You can choose that. For now, I'll let this be a separate email. What is the subject? Few. All these are your properties. If and then few ones are already listed out. If we want, we can choose them. But here we generally get the properties. Let me write my own subject. We can write our own subject. Yes, we can write our own subject. And then you can also compose the body of your email. Once you click on it, like you said, I have different templates available. I can see if any of the templates suits my requirement, I could use it. There are some thank you status update resolution goal deadline. These are all related to your SLs. You can write your own template here. And how do you get the fields in between like hi after that? I want to put it here. We can do that. Correct. We can do that. For example, in order to get the properties or in order to populate the dynamic fields, you can use this particular dot and then the property. Something like and then this would be your property dot first name or last name, whichever. But how do we know where it is? Will it not give a drop-down search, like when you put the? No, it doesn't give. No, you should have known where it is. Correct. It will. When you put like that, it will not connect to the database and get. Earlier that used to give us the. You have this once you click on it, lead the public, the usual kind of email. What I work on there is when you say like that, when you put in a particular way, it will, because we have a choice in the left hand side where we can select the right, which database and which unique key test, or which basis it is to say, then it will be all the database field. You can select from there after hi what you want to put. Right? Right. Now on this magnifier click. Yes, we got the properties. I just clicked on. You got your symbol. This is not going on. You give these two. Once you give this, you get a magnifier here. But first name, first time, you only have to give. First name I have given it. I did give it first time. Later I took it from the list options. You can also deal with embedded properties if you want. Within student, I have some student first name, last name, all of those are there. You can also deal with those things. It could be for embedded properties. Also from student data, I can also bring in some student ID. This is student data dot student ID. For example, this is the email. Let us see this. I'm going to just save and run this. We'll see how it works. Now, each of this communication you define here that creates a correspondence rule in the backend on the Bear Studio. Let me give in some email here. I'll give some A, B, C email. Let's see if it's the same email the system is considering. This is part of validation that we did. We wouldn't even show this option called change stage for the end users. It is mandatory that they have to go through all the stages except for these conditions that you mentioned. Otherwise, they have to go through all stages. The email. Yes, I think. Yes, emails are generated. Let's see. Yes, one is to be abcemail.com, which is your candidate. Yes, this looks like. And you see, hello has come. Why did this come? Because this is the first name that we have given. Right. And then you're from. Like you. It is before the red bag. But we can, the recipient. We can do that. Can. Let's see what do we have on the other mail. This is to be a chart. Now I've got two mails because I did not want to club them together in case if you want the same mail to be generated, all the recipients added on the same. For example, now let me just use only a single one. A common email author. I can directly jump. Change info for change. Used when you're sending out a rejection email. I don't need to send multiple rejection emails. Probably could be. Can we? I don't like. Like we put it in BC, isn't it? But from this particular configure option, we cannot do it. We cannot. But from there, you can do it. And this time, I think before you. Exactly. You generally send out emails, and if you want to add in some attachments, because there might be attachments like as in your sending out, probably. An email is a small transaction that you did. You get to see the bill. The invoice would be there. The amount, the time that you have purchased, the total bill amount, the gist. Everything would be put up on the invoice. Sometimes you might need an attachment for it to be included in the. Now, how do I add in some attachments? Before that, see what all shapes or what steps I can use for this creating a PDF. There is a step here. You can move automations. There is a step here. Exit. This creates a period for the section. You can choose a section that we put in your period. Now, how do you want this period to be generated? Here you get all your sections that you have created and few default sections also. For example, I would like to put in get personnel. How do you want this to be generated? How do you want this to be put in as in, like a landscape or a portrait, and choose the name of the PDF you want to show. It could be invoice, it could be personal for whatever, depending upon the text that you are using. How do you want this attachment? On which category you want this to be? This is a PDF. I would like to put it as a document. And in case if you are wanting it to be a screenshot or a URL, you can use it as per the context. Put it as a document. Now, if I want this PDF to be added on the email, obviously this has to be before your email is sent. I would like to just move it across to the top. And this PDF, now that is created, I want this to be added as an attachment in my email. How would I do that? Go back to your send off for email. Click on include attachments. Do you want all case attachments to be included or do you specifically want to select some? No, don't. I want only a few specific attachments. You can choose the category. And yes, it's a document that you just generated. You can add in multiple attachments also. How do you select this document? That particular one only will pick. Right. Here, when I map this or when I create this document for each rule, you can say for every rule that you create in Pega, we will have a PZDNS key which is unique. It's different for sections. It will be different for properties. It will be different for your PDF. It is for each one. One of the PDF, isn't it? There might be this. You don't want to. But there might be two places. We would have created videos for two different things. Correct. But how will you know that particular PDF you're going to pick? Suppose when I just add in one more document, for example, let's add in one more. On this one, I would just put I'll let it be the educational info. I'll put it as a document only. save this. For example, I would just like to rename this. This is for personal info. This is for educational info. Now suppose I want to add in both of these on the image. Now let me go to the offer. No, I don't want to include all attachments or include attachments. When I give include all case attachments, I would get both of these. What if I choose from among them? Sorry, let me. Document. Document. Yes, it isn't asking me any specific one. Let's see. I've mentioned the same thing twice, but let's see what happens. It isn't asked me. I was thinking because I thought it will show the one. Yes, I see 3 and 1. Oh, see, by default, it has taken the personal info and the educational info. Both are considered. But we don't have a choice. They didn't take. I think, even though it is not asking, it is considering the order in which we are generating it. If you do the timestamp, personal info is generated at 3636. After that, you got the educational info, PDF. After that, both of these are added as attachments on the affiliate. I think, even without even specifying the choice, we will still be able to add in the attachments without at least the specific identification. We can still add in the attachments. That is correct. Generally this creation of, even though videos are created here, if you look at the format and all this, why look at this video, you see I see it. You see this first name, last name, all of this is generated, but then when we put a PDF to the customer, this is not how it looks like. We add in a header, then you would have a footer. Then there are some, you have a lot of other things like signature, the organization's address. All of that cannot be part of a section. I don't go to the user, but still it has to be there on the PDF. Even though we try to put it here, we do a lot of refining from the Dev Studio. As like what should be the borders or how the UI has to be presented. Here there is. The customer even doesn't know what this is. We need to have proper headings. The organization details, addresses, date, times. All these would be there. This is more like we are providing a template, but a lot of refining would be done on the Dev Studio again. Like probably from first, we are talking about that. From the App Studio, we will be able to design a skeleton of the transaction. A lot of other internal processing refinements are all taken care from the Dev Studio perspective. This is how you would be able to deal with the communication and then your case attachments. Are we going to any questions, Far? That's what I have. The question there itself. That's talking. But I think I can define everything from Dev Studio. And probably there is more choice also, I think. In fact, there I can use actual sections. I can embed my sections as well. Here it is only give the option to add one section. What if I want to group different sections? That I do it here. For that, I should go back to the Dev Studio and embed different sections onto the PDF. I think we are good with the email and the attachments. Next, we have things related to the UI too, configuring the user layouts and a bit of styling what all we could achieve from the App Studio. Earlier, we were discussing about these correspondences, the communication with respect to emails. And we have also spoken about the PDFs and how would you generate a PDF and how would you attach it to the case. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.